So yeah, I don't um I don't start until September though. All right. So first off, I don't have a bunch of announcements right now, really, just a couple. Number one, we are going to start in-person meetups in August. If anybody on this chat right now has any recommendations of where they would like to meet, I'm open to anything. And obviously this is for local people, but I would like to use the kind of the layout for those of you that are not local to be able to create your kind of own meetup once a month. And I think I've said this before, but if you've missed this, there are so many network marketers that this exact layout of meeting once a month or twice a month, or some people do it every week. It just depends on if you're full-time, part-time, what you want to do. And offering it as a prospect lunch, offering it as a place to jump and have coffee and to strategize with your team, but just a regular meetup have truly been the only way they've built their business. If you guys know Shelly and Heather, they are on Beck's team. They're actually under Megan. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them or not, but they own a boutique together. But they have been in network marketing and they're wonderful. If you don't know them, reach out to them and talk to them. I love them to pieces. If they built their entire team at the last two companies they were at with doing this exact same thing, they would meet for Mexican at a Mexican restaurant every other Friday, same Mexican restaurant, same spiel about what they were with a different company, but same spiel about the company for prospects. And if for some reason a prospect didn't show up, it was a strategy meeting for their team. So that's kind of the goal, to do something similar. I did something very similar with doTERRA. It wasn't my only tool in my toolbox. Like they say that that's literally the only way they built their business. But I think that it's a great tool to have. So we're going to start out with once a month. Yeah, the public library does have meeting space. I do think the one thing that we have to be careful of if we're looking at restaurants is that number one, it has adequate seating, and number two, it's not super loud. Because I think if somebody was coming to learn, there needs to be a sense of a little bit of quietness, right? Like we might bring the loudness, but at least the people that are coming to hear will be able to hear the presentation. And when I say presentation, I'm talking like 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the most. And we make the event an hour and a half to 2 hours. And we need to be very cognizant of time frame, because people need to know that if I come at this time, I'm going to get fed what I came for, and that I'm going to be able to leave and have the whole picture. Like we have to be pretty structured with that. I like the idea of an hour and a half, but I don't, it depends on if we're doing dinner or if we're just like meeting, or if we're going to Panera Bread and saying, grab a cinnamon roll and a cup of tea. So I think that will make a difference, whether it's an hour and a half or 2 hours. I think 2 hours can sound daunting to people. So I would love your input on that. Giovanni's, yeah, that's a good place too. And I'm not stuck on the idea of having to have it at the same location every time. But I also do like, if we find a good location, to keep it the same, so there's never a question to people that couldn't make it today, but they want to come next week. Are you going to say something, Julia? Poorhouse, yeah, that's a good. And I actually haven't been in the bigger one. My girls have. They meet there like every month to do something for homeschool, and I've never walked in. But
it's big, and then they're also working on other spaces like back behind it, to where that you could have meetings like this once a month.
Okay. The other thing is, and I'm probably going to do a poll because I'm pretty open in August, so I can pretty much do almost, well, I'm lying. I have some things in August, but for the most part, I can do almost any day. I really want to know what day would be the most attended. And this is because, and everybody has a different view on this, but I know that I don't want to give my weekends up. I mean, now I'll do it as the leader of this once a month. I'm not saying that about me, but as an individual, will other people give up their weekend or their Friday evening to come to this? Or is a Tuesday, Thursday evening better? We're not doing Wednesdays, that's for sure. And then I think of it flip flop, like, well, Tuesday and Thursday evening, people need to get their kids ready for bed and so I need input on that as well. So Julia says Tuesday. And I'm fine with whatever, and we can even try a couple different ones and see how it works and then kind of solidify it after that. Tuesday. Okay. For me, I would rather do a Tuesday. When I worked a regular job, I would have still rather done a Tuesday because I wanted the weekend for my family. But that's just I don't, not every family runs the same. So
Janelle said she's trying to get in the meeting, but she's having some issues. She just put it in the Level Up Leaders chat.
Huh. Okay.
Okay, it hasn't popped up for me, so I'll message her in there.
So, that I will solidify that and we can put a date. Looks like Tuesday is sounding good to you guys. And I'll probably just say, I might give a weekday and then a weekend and just see what people think. And, Tuesday evening, what do you think? Like 6 to 7:30? Does that sound like a good time frame if we did Tuesday evening? If you do 5, you might be people won't be able to get off work. If you do much later, people need to get their kids to bed. All right. So that's number 1. Number 2, Oliver sent out messages to us leaders talking about convention. And this is just so you guys know kind of what's in the works. There is let me look it up to make sure that I'm saying this right. The event is the 14th and 15th of October in Salt Lake City, Utah. If you don't have tickets yet, you can still get them. If and there are a couple of tickets that I know of people that have purchased that aren't able to go. So get with me before you go and purchase them because they would love for their tickets to be purchased before you buy them from somebody else. And those tickets are $99, $100. So if you are leader or above prior to the date of the event, then on October 13th, which is a Thursday, there's a leader and up dinner from 6 to 8. Other than that, everything starts on Friday morning. I'm guessing that because I had this question earlier from someone. Is Janelle still having trouble getting in? I guess. Sorry.
She hasn't said anything back in the chat.
Okay. So I had this question earlier from somebody about, well, how am I going to know if I should go on the 13th or not? Because I'm planning to be leader, but how do I know? I'm guessing you'll probably be there on the 13th anyway, because October 14th begins at 9 a.m. So the dinner would be 6 p.m. on Thursday. So that would kind of give you an idea. And the other thing that we already chatted about as leaders is if we have a lot of people that are not leader and above that want to do one dinner, then we talked about like grabbing a few people and saying, Julia, kind of like what you did for the event, just everybody that's not going to the leader and above dinner could meet at another location and have their own dinner. So at the same time. So on October 14th, which is a Friday, from 9 to 5 will be general session. And then 6 to 7:30 p.m. will be a welcome reception. And these are just kind of preliminary. Oliver said that the first week of August, we will have a full like kickoff call with all the details. On October 15th, Saturday, 7 to 9 a.m., they're doing a fun run. He wouldn't give me any details. I'm not sure what that means, but running and fun are in the same sentence for me. My husband will love it, but not me. And 10 to 4 p.m. will be general session 2. 5 to 6:30 p.m. will be VIP training, and 7:30 p.m. will be the gala. So that's just to kind of give you guys an idea of time frame, because I know a lot of times when we're traveling out of town, you're like, well, when's it start? When's it end? When do I need a flight? And just for now, I am not going at the exact same time or coming back as the exact same time as convention, but I am choosing to fly out of Nashville because my whole family's going out west for 3 weeks. It was a really good deal. So check other airports, like check around. It was really weird. Like Louisville was expensive. And this was weeks ago. I bought my plane tickets like over a month ago. So, but still check. I don't know how far you're willing to drive or how much you need to save on airfare, but Nashville, Louisville, Columbus, Cincinnati, like it's so funny how different they all are and how different the airlines are. Like I could get, I might have been able to fly out of Columbus cheap with Spirit, but then it was Southwest in Nashville, or so just check around and see who's flying into Salt Lake. Everything you need will be close to the convention. I myself will have a vehicle if anybody needs to be transported. My husband is willing to transport from, if you're 4 blocks away and it's pouring the rain, he'll do transport. He does not care. And so if you need a vehicle, don't feel like you need to rent one. Like we'll be there and we can help. And there are other people that are local that will be willing to help too. So that's kind of the details on convention. Anybody have questions about any of that? Very welcome. If you do not have tickets, then like Crystal has one, and I have somebody that bought one for a guest that cannot come. So I have 2 basically that I know that are available. After that, they are still available for purchase from Amare. And there seems to be deals every month. So pay attention. Like if you bring somebody new in, they could get it for $50. It includes gala, $99. I don't know. I've not paid a whole lot of attention, but just know that those are still available for you. And I think it's going to be awesome. We are launching 2 new products and all kinds of new like comp stuff. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but it's okay. Comp stuff. Just a lot of new programs, compensation changes, a lot of things that I think it's going to be good. And I don't know all of them, but I'm excited to see them. All right. So any questions about either of those events, monthly events starting in August in person and convention? All right. So what I wanted to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is gala an extra cost in addition, or is that a part of the $100 ticket?
It seems to be part. Now I know like Crystal's ticket includes gala. And I do also think that I've noticed that every month when they have like the deal, I think it says gala, but I can ask Gabby to make sure. He knows all the details to that. He's kind of in charge of that. It seems like gala has not been marketed as extra yet, but I could have missed that recently. I think it's kind of all inclusive is what it looked like, as long as you purchase early. Like, and I mean, now's even considered early. So
How fancy is gala? Because like this is my first time doing any kind of a convention.
Because we actually did virtual convention last year. And so I'm not 100% sure, but I will tell you that all of the events I've been to with Amare, Mexico, California, the array of individuals and how they're dressed is so widespread. I don't even think you have to worry about it. I think you could go in a ball gown, and I think you could go in a sundress. And I don't think you would feel out of place with either one of them. Because we just have an array of different types of people that are at these events. And so everybody kind of has their own thing. So I tend to fall in between. Like I tend to just kind of go in the middle, and I'm like, what's LBD?
Little
Little
black dress.
Little black dress.
Yeah, I don't do that because I don't look nice in a little black dress.
It's easy.
Don't pick one way for the win.
But I usually fall in the middle of that. And It doesn't matter. I mean, we had like a really nice event in Mexico, and exactly what I said, from church dress or sundress to ball gown, you saw it. So you can't go wrong. I usually do like business casual for the events, and I think that that is so widespread too. So, and I see people in everything. Beck wears jeans and a hoodie most of the time unless she's on stage, and then there's people that are wearing heels that I wouldn't
She
go to
wore
her
jeans
wedding.
on stage too, and a t-shirt.
Yeah,
was like,
she will do that. We've missed you too, Janelle. We said it's felt like forever since we've been on here, and we're gonna have to, get everybody back in the groove of being on calls. So, all right. So what I really wanted to talk about tonight is a couple of off the norm for what we've been doing as a team. I feel like social media was wonderful, and nobody's trying to leave social media, but I love having lots of tools in our toolbox. And I feel like the in-person events each month are going to be awesome for that. And I hope that for those people that are uncomfortable doing in-person events, this will kind of be a way to, get people warmed up and see how those of us that are willing to do it are leading some of these things. And I think social media has been wonderful throughout the pandemic. And, when there wasn't there were times when we couldn't get together, but I feel like it's time to add more tools to our toolbox so that we can expand our audience. We can be in relationship with people that we're doing business with. And although you can network online, there's nothing like networking in person. It's my cup of tea, at least. So I have Julia, who has recently done an in-person event, and Jessica, who's been doing some online vendor fairs, which is a whole other realm of audience and way things are working. And then Kelly's also done some in-person events. So I wanted each person to kind of share a little bit, and then I will wrap it up with telling you guys a couple of things that I'm planning on doing that I have in the works that are in person as well. So Julia, would you be good with starting? Are you good with that? All right. So Julia did and I'll let her explain everything, but she did an in-person event quite recently downtown in her area. And Julia, if you want to just kind of explain a little bit, and then maybe I'll ask you a couple of questions to share, but just go ahead and tell us all the goods.
Okay. So, Downtown Russell, with the whole revitalization program that's been going on in downtown Russell, they have been doing events. They had one in May. It was a third Saturday block party. In Ashland, they have First Friday block parties where they have like car shows, and that's kind of something that they do every summer. So Russell tried to kind of replicate that same thing. Also in the midst of what they have is called Railroad Days. It's just another event, local area. So, so they had one in May. May was huge. I had heard there were like 40 different vendors. It was a huge success. And, but then Railroad Days came, and Railroad Days was a huge success there as well. But this one in June, there was some kind of issue that happened at Railroad Days. And so there weren't many of us that showed up for the vendor event this time. But I liked it because it was a nice way to kind of dabble my toes in it. I'll be really honest, I was nervous doing an in-person event because I was like, oh my goodness, people are going to ask questions, and like, I'm going to have to maybe go off the cuff. Holy moly, what am I going to do? I'm not going to have a script in front of me. I won't have time to have written everything out and reread it to make sure it was perfect. But it was really nice. By signing up for this vendor event that was August, when I had to get the license for it, it allowed me to also do the one in September. No, I'm sorry, that was July. So August and September. My license is good for to do. I don't know if this next one will be any larger, but there were like 8 vendors, including myself there. It was just kind of set up on the side of a street. So it was pretty easy. Really just depends on how, I guess, in depth you want to make it. So I found the event, and there I was actually invited to do other events in addition, by other people. Said, hey, we'd love to have you come to our event as well. So really I had a tent. There's certain things that these different events will provide and they won't provide, right? Like electricity, Wi-Fi, any kind of setup was not provided. It was just the space that I was provided with. So I brought a tent just because it was really hot and sunny that day. And it was in the evening. So I had a tent. I made sure I had a table, just a little fold up table. And then I did a sample of Edge and Energy Plus. I didn't really know, first of all, how big a crowd I was going to have. So I didn't want to give out my Mentibiotics too, especially since they've gone in and out of stock. So I did Edge and Energy Plus. I also was just I didn't know how skeptical, because it wasn't like a health and wellness type event. It was just a block party. Different vendors were going to be there to the public. I took a cooler with some bottles of water, my products to set up, and then my products that I was actually going to use for my samples, some little cups. And I kept, after talking to Kamala, I kept it to 2 packs that I really featured. That was the Happy Juice and the Happy Hormone. And I had a giveaway. I had an extra box of Energy Plus. I did the sugar-free and caffeine-free just because I thought that might be more appealing to other people, because some people may be sensitive to caffeine and not want that. I had, for the giveaway, I had a sign-up sheet. It was really simple. I just created it in a Google Doc. It asked for their name, phone number, and email, and if they had social media on Facebook or Instagram, because those are the 2 formats that I'm on. And I just had it on a little clipboard exactly like this. I had my product that was out there for giveaway. I did have, and I created these on Canva. I did have these little tabletop stands, and this was a QR code for the Happy Quiz. I encouraged people to take it. Nobody took it. I think having this was a little bit quicker and easier for people to just come up and do. I think this was even requiring a little bit more. But I had that, and then I created another graphic on Canva, and this had QR codes as well. And I want it all. So I did a Happy Hormone pack that was bundled with Edge and Energy, I think. And these were just carts, templates that I'd created. And then a Happy Juice pack, and then a Happy Hormone pack. So I had
Quick question.
Mhm.
How did you get the QR codes for what you created?
I can put in our Level Up Leaders chat, the QR code site. It's free online. Super easy.
Yes,
I
you
use
need
it
to
in the
share it.
classroom.
What was that?
I use it with my classroom. Like I'll have different activities for my students, and they'll just have to scan the QR code to get the information for it. And so I've just made them on this website, and you just plug in your link, and you hit create, and it does it for free. So
That is awesome, Julia. I love what you created in Canva. I think they're beautiful.
it was really simple.
I think that Canva is the most user-friendly probably that I've used for creating stuff like that. I really, really like it. So question, because everybody does this a little different. Did you mix your stuff while you were there for like an attraction, or did you already have it mixed? How did you do that?
I had just one bottle like bottle of water already mixed with my edge, and then I had it out also on the table. And if somebody had come up, I mean, I went on ahead and poured it in from my water bottle into a cup for them. The way I engaged people was just as they were walking by, I was like, hi, you know, would you like to try a free sample? Or hi, would you like to sign up for a free door prize? Really, I didn't have a lot of people approach me and come to my table. It was really more, you know, catching people's eye and kind of inviting them to come over. Most everybody, I think there was only one couple that said no and just walked on. Everybody else at least stopped. And then I did business cards. And I did all of this printing through Office Depot, and it was really, I mean, it wasn't super expensive. It took a little bit of time, maybe like an hour, you know, getting everything printed. But I also included the Happy Pack QR code here, and I just told them that it was my $10 off gift to them. And so I had my social media and my phone number on there. And then I talked to Melora, who had done one of these events as well. And she said she had these and she felt like it was kind of a waste of time that not a lot of people really engaged with the product sheets, but it was good for me because I was able to say, like, when they were trying to sample the edge and the energy, I was able to point to and say, well, this is a nootropic and this is what it does, like, because it was spread out on, you know, in front of where the samples were. And this is the energy and this is what the energy does. So I had like a focal point to direct them to as I was talking about it.
I like that. I also think that those can be very helpful when, and Kelly has done tons of events. I don't know how much input she has just with other companies she's with. And so she might have some input on this too. But what I've learned with, depending upon how much education that the product you're providing has, if you have a large amount of people, like a large influx of people, and it's just you, being able to educate a large amount of people at one time can be really difficult. So, or it can feel overwhelming. Like if you have somebody that's trying to order and then somebody that wants to learn. And this is another reason that I'm so adamant that I think it's a better idea for you to just choose like 2 packs or, you know, focus on one thing that you want to help people with this event, because I think you can get like all over the place and then it becomes overwhelming. But those sheets that you have, I think would be awesome for even being able to say, hey, this is Happy Juice. Why don't you check out what's in this and its benefits for you while you're talking to Susie over here for a second. Like it's just something to keep them busy. Hold on a second. My kids are losing it. Hold on a second.
Well, also that was one thing I liked about the having the QR codes there available. I feel like I didn't know how large of an influx of people I would have. But I thought if I did, I could at least say, oh, well, here's the Happy Quiz. Why don't you take the Happy Quiz? Or if they were interested in ordering, here, scan this, you know, and this will take you directly to a cart. I did have one lady that was interested. It was funny. She just kind of jokingly said, well, do you have anything for female hormones? And I was like, well, yes, I do. And I had Ignite right next to me and was like, well, yes, I do. And she goes, well, is there a his? And I said, oh, well, yes, there is. And on the day that was the 30% off promo, she ordered that pack with the edge and the energy.
Awesome.
So that was, you know,
That's awesome.
it was neat, you know, how it kind of worked. But for my follow-up, I had 15 people sign up for my door prize. And for my follow-up, I just resent them the Happy Quiz. I was like, you know, it was so great getting to meet you, getting to talk to you. This has been such a blessing to my family. I don't know, it's not for everybody, but I would love to chat with you. And I always like to follow up. Here's our 5-minute happy quiz. I said, I call it our happy quiz. It kind of gives you kind of an insight to your mental and physical wellness. And then I said, it's completely, I said it was 5 minutes, completely confidential kind of thing. And said, would you be interested in learning more about our products? And so sent those out, and I have another girl that's going to order just from those. I plan on following up with the ones that I haven't heard back from, just with a little more information about our happy juice. So
Awesome. That is wonderful, Julia. And I think that, I think that you hit like the key points of what needs to be done. Like number one, you need to attract them with something like a sample or, something, a giveaway. I think that that's important. The giveaway is so important for getting information for a lead. And something, and I have not done an in-person event with Amari, but I did them all the time with doTERRA, and something that I like to do. And so you could maybe like do both, because if somebody didn't want to take the happy, what's it called again? The happy mind assessment, or the new mental wellness assessment, then I would do like, I would have a little health and wellness questionnaire that was just like your little, like information sheet. And I'd have on the front, I would have their personal information. And on the back, I would have, like, what health issues are you dealing with? And it might, for us, it would be like brain fog, energy, imbalanced hormones, whatever you're focusing on. And then I would offer a free 15-minute wellness consult with Amari. I would probably call it a protocol recommendation or a wellness protocol, something of that nature. And then I would follow up with all of them via either Facebook or email, however they ask. And then I would actually give them their recommendation according to the information they gave me. So, I think the goal is, and everybody can be as creative as they want to be. You can follow this exact template that you used or some of the things that I've said, but ultimately I think the goal is to make sure that you are engaging with the people coming, that you have something eye-catching, that you narrow it down to just a couple of things so you can share, really streamlined education, and that you make sure that there's a way for you to have their information for follow-up. And I think that there are so many different venues and places you can do this. There are vendor fairs that are in person all the time, but there are also events like there are tournaments. There's like sports tournaments that people set up at. There's so many different things that you can do. Just keep your eyes out to see where you can set up. There's even people that have messaged me recently. They're doing like vendors in the stores in the mall, in front of their store in the mall, like once a month. And they ask if I wanted to set up there. So there's a lot of options. So just know that, and I don't think it matters where you live. I think there's always options. There's schools that do fairs, there's wellness fairs. There's just so many options. Kelly, did you have anything that you might throw in? You're like an expert at this.
I don't know about expert, but
You're very
and
experienced.
I will say that QR code is, because I was supposed to, it was tentative, but I was going to go down to Russell and help Julia, because I have done these before, and then something came up with my son and we got stuck somewhere, so I couldn't go. But yes, Julia, that QR code is genius. Okay. Because it allows you to make a digital business card. And I was so excited when I found this out, because I put that on my sign that I use. I printed out, I'm having new signs printed out for my tables that I use already. And so I can put, in addition to my other business card, but I can put that on there, because where I have done stuff with doTERRA for probably 4 or 5 years at vendor stuff, I needed updated stuff. So the digital business card is awesome. I love it. You can scan it and bam, I'm saved to your phone. All of it, website and all. Great. So she definitely needs to share with you all how that works. But it's really cool.
Awesome.
It's a neat thing. So thank you, Miss Julia. But as far as the thing goes, I think she did a great job. I know she and I talked a little bit beforehand. and I said to her too, I said, don't get, don't think, don't get bummed out if 2 people come or 20 that, it can be hit or miss. But I think that the engagement is huge. That's the big part. People, a lot of times the people, they come in and out so quickly. You have to have something to where you can either, like she said, something where you can get information from them for a lead for later, or something that's going to keep them there for the moment. I know at the one that I just did in July, that was really I had done one back in April, but my mom and I actually organize and run one for a local charity once a year. And so me introducing it while I was out helping her run it was probably not the best idea. But the one in July, I was actually just a vendor. It's the same one I do every year, and I'm doing it again in November. So you get in like a routine with these people. But anyway, one of the actual vendors there, she came over and she was asking me about some stuff, and she was asking me about hormones and stuff, and she wanted to talk about oils, and I kept pointing at Amari stuff. I was like, I'm telling you. And she just kept wanting to talk about the oil stuff, and I was like, girl, it's like, listen, I'm just gonna tell you, you have to listen to me on this, trust me. And I said, and everything she was saying, it was funny because she said, well, what about this? And I'd say, she said, what have you got for that? And I was like, okay. But she and I are still talking. So if that tells you anything, I mean, she and I are still having conversations about it. She has, and so it was a really good conversation, good lead. But what I do find is a lot with the vendor things, like I said, sometimes now the one I do at Boyd County tends to be one of the biggest ones I do. I don't know how many people came through that day, but it moves really fast. So I like to, like you said, like follow up with people. The wellness consults is something I always did with doTERRA. I did have some slips that I used that had on their different categories that might be of wellness that you might be interested in learning about or questions about. That makes it very, simple for me. But I did have the information stuff with me as well. I didn't have as much, but like Julia said, it is good for people to look at like on their own. But for me, it's more a tool for me too. And it's a quick reference if I need it.
Right, like
but
something to teach from.
the what?
Like something to teach from. That makes sense.
Right, exactly. Now I have done vendor fairs in the past. When I used to do the ones out to Caova, there was a time when she would actually let me do like a little teaching class, like schedule it. Like we were there from like 10 to 5. And like at 1:00, I would do like a little class. And this is with doTERRA. But I mean, little things you can do like that. If you're there for an extended amount of time, that's might be something I try in November, maybe, depends with Amari, because it is like an all day thing. So it might be something I do if I can figure out how to do a quick little one like that. But
Yeah,
that's
definitely
mostly
share with us if you do that, because that's a new idea to me. So that would be awesome to hear how that goes
Yeah.
and what you choose to do on that.
But that's
All right.
one of the main things that people mostly asked about so far was energy and stress.
And if anybody has they want to make like the wellness consult thing that I'm talking about, if you check out my Linktree, I have a digital one that you can pull like all the health and wellness things from that somebody might have issues from. So it's on my Linktree, and it says, I think it says a free protocol recommendation or something like that. I can't remember what I titled it, but if you click on it, I have a bunch of questions, but one of them is just like things that you can check off that, yeah, I have issues with energy. I have issues with brain fog. So check that out for a list of those. It's pretty exhaustive. So that should work. All right. I don't want to get off of here without letting Jessica share because Jessica does online vendor fairs and she won't call herself an expert either, but she's extremely experienced. And she might not be experienced in the Amare realm of doing them, but you are very experienced with online vendor fairs. So I would love to hear. I know one thing that I really want to hear is well, just kind of tell us how you run it, like how it works. So basically a vendor fair is, I'm the vendor fair facilitator and you come in as the only Amare vendor and you're online in a group. And what does that look like? I know you get to show up every day with posts and sometimes lives. So tell us how you do that.
It kind of depends on your facilitator. Every single one I've ever done, you are the only Amare rep in that group. So that is very helpful. There's no like competition there. Now there could be other wellness companies that are there as well. So you do kind of have that kind of competition. But I already had my post saved on a Google Drive from where I've done a couple and like tweaked them. And so it's now where I just go to the Google Drive, I copy what I have, and I schedule it in the group according to whatever scheduled time I have for that vendor event.
Because they give you like Monday,
Yes,
you get to
they
post
give
if
that
want
to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Like one vendor event, we had, I think 3 different posts per day, and we had a specific time, it's usually time chunk, like 2 hours to schedule in. Another one that I did, she gave you a specific time. So you had to schedule it for that specific time. And if you missed it, she let you make it up, but not all of them let you make it up, which is why it's a good idea to pre-schedule before the event hits, because then that way you're free to interact with the people that are commenting on your posts. And some facilitators require that you comment on everybody else's posts in some fashion. So that frees you up to be able to do, all of that. So
What platform do you do this on usually?
I just go into Facebook group and
Just
when you
Facebook
start
group.
to click it, it says scheduler and you just click schedule and then it pops up a calendar kind of thing.
So this whole thing is on Facebook?
Yes,
Mhm.
on Facebook
It's like a
group.
Facebook group. It's not like we're meeting in like a Zoom like this and
No.
sharing.
No.
Correct.
Okay.
No.
And
Okay.
it can
all
run
right.
anywhere from a couple days to a week, correct?
Yes.
Just depending upon who's put it
The
together.
facilitator.
I've actually
This is brand
joined,
new to me.
yeah, I've actually joined, and there are tons of people. It's a
Tons.
business, it's a business of itself. So like,
Yes.
and not that this matters, but just so you understand why it's so broad, is if I decided to do vendor fairs as an event, what it would be is, and Jessica, you can tell us the fees, but basically Crystal, you might have to pay me $10 to be a vendor, or you might pay me $25. So I run this and facilitate it and I send out all the schedules. So this is my business, right? And then I just pull in vendors. So it's really popular online. And once you start finding them, you can talk to the other people that you network with in there and learn of other events. And, some people love some facilitators, some people don't. So you find the ones that are like kind of like-minded with you. But Jessica, how do you, because this is what I love about it, is you can choose whatever your posts are about. You can choose a product, you can choose a pack, and sometimes you even get a live to do. What have you
The lives are a
found
little
to be
tricky
a good
though,
way-
especially if you're trying to interview somebody, because it works better if you're a moderator instead of an admin.
Yes.
And that is also up to the facilitator if they let you do that or not. But if I were to go on and do a live just myself, then it would be fine and I would have a time frame that I had to stick to. So sorry, continue your question.
No, that's okay. I just would love for you to share what you usually do in your posts. Like what are you usually putting out there? Because you've had some good results. Jessica just signed up a wellness partner this week with a vendor fair. So I would love to hear how you're carrying that out.
So with my posts, I go from, like, if I'm talking about the purple pill in one post, the next post is about the transformation pack. And then if I talk about, specifically Edge, then the next post might be about the Happy Juice pack or the Happy Mind pack. But try to weave those
Weave
both
them.
together where it could be, you know, a single item, but oh, look, it's in this pack, which could be more bang for your buck. I definitely talked about Ignite in this last one that got a lot of attention and commenting. And then I also always comment about our kids line because I've gotten some orders from that because a lot of people are like, what, you have kids stuff? Like, we need help with our kids. And then also the superfood protein seed fiber.
The
one.
nutrition.
Yes, the nutrition one. I talk about that quite a bit too, because a lot of people are like, I'm trying to get more greens in my diet. I'm trying to, you know, and so here, you know, here's a post about this. In the last 2 that I've done, and they were back to back, so that was really hard. I had 12 conversations going, and I had 10 happy mind quiz results as well. I've not had a chance to follow
You
up
do
with
that
them.
as a post, right? You do that as
Yes.
a post?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like as a kind of an introductory post. Yes, Crystal,
When you say as a post, is this as a post on your personal page or within this?
within the group.
Okay.
Within the group. One of the ladies that I work with, she does multiple colors of her groups. And so you have to make sure you're in the right color group when you're posting. Another one that I did, she only does 2 a year. So she just makes her group each time and we go in and have fun.
But basically, like, if we were all with different companies, Crystal, the way it works is like Julia would be told that she can post anytime between noon and 1, and then I'm anytime between 1 and 2. So they're not competing. And then you're between 2 and 3, and Kelly's between, you get what I'm saying? And then and that way there's no competition with it. And it's just a constant, I mean, literally, like
Like a constant
people that are
feed of
coming
posts.
know what they're coming for. They're coming to learn about products. But I believe, this is kind of my theory on it. I was just telling my husband this before I got on, Jessica. I think that you have the best audience to bring in wellness partners because you have an entire group of people that are network marketers. And if you pitch the business right with timing and our compensation plan and what we have available, you are what all of us want. We want to bring somebody that already understands network marketing into our team. And I think that you have the perfect audience for it because you have to comment on each person. You know, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they're already right there. So I
Yeah.
think it's a wonderful, wonderful tool for.
As a matter of fact,
for
my new wellness partner, she was with a different wellness company and they folded within a year. So she asked, you know, how old is Amare? And when I told her it was 4 years old, she was like, oh, okay. And I could tell she was kind of interested. But then when we got that promo code, I messaged her on the side and I was like, hey, I just got this promo code. You know, would you be interested? It includes Wellness Partner for free. And she was like, sign me up. I'm in. Like, didn't even think of it. Like, didn't, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't faze her. The fact that it was free and 30% off, she was in. So
Right.
I hope nothing but the best for her. And I'm excited to see, you know, what she has in store too.
Julia, did you have a question?
Yes. How did you find these events, like these online vendor events? Because I know I had somebody share with me that where they taught like with VIP Kids, that they at one time had a big, huge online vendor event like that. But that's the only online vendor event I had ever really heard about. So how did you find that?
The market that I was with prior to Amare, my upline, does a lot of them still. And so she was like, hey, why don't you contact this one person because she does the different groups. You could be in a different color group than me and we can still both, you know, do this event. And then I've kind of expanded from there. You can do a simple Facebook search for online vendor events. It's another way that I've found a couple. The other one that I work with that only does 2 a year, she's actually kind of local to us here in the Ashland area. So I found her through a friend who also does a different jewelry MLM. So it's just kind of, you know, searching and getting to, you know, talk to people and see what they have out there.
So just
Oh, yeah, I
searching
think
online
Online
vendors
vendor events.
In
Facebook.
in Facebook.
In
Yep.
Facebook.
Right. How much do you
Um,
pay? I saw that.
Yeah.
Jeanette just asked.
So it runs anywhere from $11 to $25. It just depends on the facilitator. The gal that does the $11, she makes no money from this. She takes everybody's $11 and she buys Visa gift cards and she runs those like as a giveaway. So she'll do different posts like anybody who asked a question today of any of our vendors about their business, you're entered in for this giveaway. Anybody who makes any kind of a purchase, you're entered into this other giveaway. Now the lady that charged the $25, she doesn't run giveaways. If you choose to do a giveaway, you can, because like where you said you did your giveaway of Energy Plus, I thought, oh, okay, I can maybe do that for my next online vendor, event. Another thing you could do is free shipping. You could reimburse them their shipping through PayPal or Venmo or,
Jessica, I think and we did a couple of those type of things not long ago where we just said 10 packs of Edge or Energy, instead of a whole box.
Yeah, you can do that way too. It's totally up to you.
Week's worth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Most of the vendor groups are in Facebook. $100 to be in an online vendor event. Oh my goodness, Janelle.
What I did was I did the energy giveaway and then I picked 2 other people. I drew 2 others out and I'm just going to send them like a couple packets of Edge and a couple packets of energy in as well. So, I mean, I had an extra box of Energy Plus, needed to get that 140 G. So
I will say sometimes there are invitation parameters. So like the one that I did, she didn't require that you invite a certain amount of people. This other gal requires that you invite up to 50 or more. So sometimes it can get, a little spammy because, you put it on your wall sometimes that, I've got this vendor event coming up and then you get crickets. So you have to sometimes go in and like go down your list. Sometimes you'll have other network marketing friends where you're like trade for trade. You're in one, you can invite me. I'm in one, I'm going to invite you and kind of, fill up your whatever number that way.
So when you say
So
invite, does that mean they have to come?
No,
50
you just have
50
to,
have to
send them
accept.
the invite.
Okay.
They have to have the opportunity to come.
But
Because they can track that in the
regardless,
group.
you're always going to have the vendors in front of you. And that's why I think
Right.
it's such a great opportunity. Julia, another option that you could do is literally just like ask on your Facebook, does anybody know of anybody that runs
Yeah.
online vendor fairs? But yes, I've searched them myself. If you search them, you'll find hundreds of them.
Yes.
They're everywhere.
But I'm learning that
So-
follow-up is key. Staying in communication is key. It's rare that you're going to find somebody that reads your post and they're like, all right, sign me up. Because usually, they're like, I have a question or I'm not sure. And then, that opens the door to building that relationship for them to know, like, and trust you throughout the event or even after the event.
And getting those people added to the future of mental wellness is
Yep.
key. And
I
I
had
don't
a
care if
couple
it's
that were added.
person, and even, that might be something for us to think about. I know we are over time, but that might be something to think about even for in-person events, is coming up with a way that you make sure that you say, hey, I would love for you to see some testimonies of individuals who are experiencing these same things you just told me on your questionnaire. You know what I mean? And then just adding them to the future of mental wellness and making sure that's your initial follow-up. You're just tagging them in, Shane's IBS issues or whatever. And that way they're in that drip and then they're still in our system with Facebook, right?
A lot
So,
of facilitators ask, do you have a group? And I know that our group, they don't want us to share that link. So I just explained to my facilitators, my group, they don't want us to share the link. So I can't, provide that. And thankfully, they've both been okay with it. But then as people were interested, I would, Facebook message them and be like, hey, can I send you a friend request? Because I would like to add you to this, other group that can help show you some testimonies and things like that of the products. And every time so far, knock on wood, they've all said yes, and I've been able to, add them and tag. So
yeah, and I usually just use the verbiage I don't ever have anybody tell me no. And I think it has to do with the verbiage. I think the verbiage for the future of mental wellness that works really well is, I would love for you to be able to see other individuals who are experiencing healing in the same areas that you're looking to find healing in, or whatever, something along those lines, because that third party validation is what everybody wants anyway. And then Dr. Sean's jumping in there, and there's other, and that gives you the chance. That's a great follow-up to go back weeks later and be like, if you write it down and you know that Crystal wants issues with her food sensitivity headaches, and somebody puts one up there, then you go back and you tag Crystal weeks later, right? And it brings it back to the forefront. So the last thing, and then we can ask questions if we have questions, but I want to talk about this because I'm going to do this in September. I used to go in with doTERRA, and I used to go into everything from salons to doctor's offices to schools. And this is kind of the way I would do it. I would connect with a teacher, I would connect with a beautician, whatever. And I would ask, what is your clientele's biggest gripes? Okay, like what are their biggest pain points? And for teachers, it was immunity, or it was stress resilience. And this is when I was doing oils, but it was still the same thing. It's always the same thing, guys. So it's weight management. It's all of those things. Or they would want to put something in their room. Now we can't do this with Amari, but they'd want to put something in their room for focus, And so they would put a diffuser of something in their room. But ultimately, the point is that if you can find a venue to teach in, and then you can step into that venue and meet the needs and the pain points of the people that are there, you can create a class around anything. Like you name the pain point, we have a product for it. And we don't even have a huge product line. But for the most part, the average mass issues, we have a product for. And so you can always go in and you have one script and you just change it up a little bit depending. So let's say that you went and you taught and I'm going to talk local. I went and I taught at Oakview about immune health. And so I talked about just, using Mentis Sync and using our Vita GBX and, whatever I came up with in that package. But then I went to Hager and they were really more interested in stress resilience. I would just change the pack and I would still teach the same type of thing, right? You don't have to have, or you create to start with a class around one pack. And I think that this is a good place to start. Create a class around the Happy Juice pack or the Fundamentals pack. And write the list of things that addresses and only teach classes on that for a little bit. And the classes can be 3 people, 5 people, 10 people. It does not have to be a ton of people. I am going to do this at a chiropractor's office in September, and I've done classes at his office before, but I'm going to do it again as a first Amari class. I've never done an Amari class. I've only done other stuff. And I think that this is just another way for you to get out there in the community and start sharing what we have. One way that I like to do like giveaways, like what Crystal said, I love to just say that there will be door prizes. And the door prize just might be a week's worth of our all natural nootropic. It might be 3 days worth of our rocket fuel, which for me is Edge and Energy. And I just match enough together for them to do that for 3 days. It doesn't have to be anything big, but it's an incentive. And you can even have them taste things while they're there. There's a great conversion rate when people are in person. If you believe in what you are, and I mean in person in a class, because you have their full attention, you share the education, you empower them with showing them that you have the tools, and then you do an effective close. And we can do that at another time, the effective close, because I think that there's verbiage to that. But be thinking about, back to school's coming. Like I think back to school stuff is wonderful for parents. You could do a back to school for parents and focus or immunity or, all the things you could do back to school for teachers and stress resilience. There's just so many options. Fall's coming. People are going to worry about immunity. Gut health is always linked to immunity. Like you can always spin it in a very honest way, but people don't understand how much that our gut houses, right? So whatever they're looking for, whether it's hormone health or whether it's immune health, whatever it is, we probably have something for it. So just be thinking about where you can do those things. And those connections are leads in themselves, and many times the conversion rate. I have always found classes have a huge conversion rate in person. They've touched it, they've heard it, they've asked the questions, they've tasted it, and there's not really as many questions. You've dripped on them the 5 to 7 times in the class. It's just very different than a vendor fair or online. So that's just another way that we can get outside of the box and just kind of do things a little differently. But I think everybody's going to find their own path, and we might not all do all of it. And you might, you might do a little bit of everything, but Crystal might find that classes are her thing. And Julia might find that, the vendor fairs are hers. But ultimately, I think having an in-person tool that you love to use, along with our online attraction marketing, will be the best thing for your business. And I think it'll get you comfortable with sharing in person, because we do so much online that I think that a lot of times when we're in person, we're not sharing. Like, are you sharing at the ball field? Are you sharing at church? And it doesn't have to be a sales pitch, but do we just keep Amare online and then we don't talk about it in person? And I think that's easy to do because we're so streamlined in social media.
It felt like very much so in that place, like very compartmentalized, that it's all online. And so I felt uncomfortable and spammy to want to bring it into conversation with people. And I'm trying to kind of work that a little bit more into my conversations and my routine to kind of step out of that comfort zone. I mean, so that was definitely a good thing about doing the in-person event. The sample gave me something to engage them with, to start the conversation with. And
Right.
so,
To break the ice. Yeah.
yeah.
And my MO, and I'll leave you guys with this, is always just I just share a little bit of info and I move on. I don't make it, because the moment that you make it to what becomes spammy in somebody's mind, even in yours, is when it becomes the center of the conversation. It doesn't have to be the center. It can just be like, hey, we should chat sometime about what I helped my daughter with her anxiety, because it was a life changer. If they want to continue, they continue.
They
If not, we're
come
talking
back
about
around.
Yes, exactly. And that is really the key to in person. You don't have to, my husband taught me this because he is like master salesman, but you want to be more engaged in what they need and what they're telling you. I don't care if it's about their grandma or their kid, but usually something's going to come up for you to say, hey, we really should talk about this, or I've got something for you. Don't, make sure you get a hold of me later, because we can definitely help you out. Just something quick like that. It plants the seed and you move on. You water it later, but you've planted that. All right, guys, I think this has been an awesome call. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I loved all the info, and I am all about, oh, look at Lindsay and the baby. I am all about hearing all the different ideas and stuff that you guys have. So Julia, if you don't care to drop that QR in Level Up Leaders, that would be awesome. I will drop a poll for the in-person event here locally in Ashland. And Crystal, you guys can totally, whenever things get settled, but you can totally do something like this locally for you guys too, just invite
I
one or
would
two
like
people.
to, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Enjoy a cup of tea and a crumpet and some Amare. All right. You guys have a blessed night. It was great to see your faces. Bye.